Hello, Kristen here. It's been a very rainy late summer here in Alaska, in McCarthy, and we have tons of mushrooms around. I wanted to sketch some subjects with you that are a little bit rounder and talk about how to build up round forms and dimension. So today I have a video about sketching this orange delicious mushroom. Today I wanted to draw something that is a little bit more dimensional and rounder. I found this mushroom growing in the forest. It's an orange delicious mushroom, or that's its common name. It's lactarius, and they're pretty common where I live. They're edible, pretty mild tasting, and we've had a pretty rainy August. And there are lots of mushrooms and lots of these guys. So I've been picking a lot of them around my house and then eating them and drying them also to preserve them for the winter. So this one's pretty small. I think I'm gonna do my drawing a little bit bigger. I'm actually gonna plan on doubling it. So one way to do that is you can use your pencil to measure the specimen. And then, I mean, this is pretty rough, right? But I don't know if I'm gonna have enough space. Let's see. Oh, I think I might just have enough space. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just measuring each part of it with my fingers. You know, it's not that precise, but then doing each one twice on here. So that's about it. And then I'm just gonna look at kind of the general shapes. You see a little bit of the gills underneath. Because one of the things that helps identify it is that it's kind of like bright orange. It has bright orange gills and bright orange stalk. The underneath of the mushroom is basically, I mean, it's not perfect, but it's basically this ellipse shape. It's nature, so it's not perfect. And I can erase my little pencil marks as I go. The mushroom is not very complicated geometrically. Well, they can be. This one's pretty simple. It's kind of like the cap and the stalk and then the gills as well. So we could do the thickness of this. And then it's got some moss, because that's where I found it, the moss. Now that I have the pencil drawing finished, I can carry on with this sketch. For this sketch, I decided to do watercolor first, and then I can come back with pen later. My first step is to mix up an orange color for the light colors in the mushroom. And alright, I'm going to start just working on kind of a graded wash where the middle part is the lightest. Gills are quite light, but this part's all going to be underneath and it's sort of in shadow, so I'm going to do that all this light orange color. Maybe I'll regret that, we'll see. And then blend it down into the stalk. again. Preserving some white space. I'm gonna let that dry and work on painting in some of this moss. Just wanted to tone down that green a little bit, although it is quite, it's bright, that was just too turquoise. Yes, I think that is a good color. I need kind of a shadow thing going on too, which you can make a light violet shadow to go on orange, which can look nice. Let's do actually even more. Like that. So this is dry now, and I'm just gonna keep working on it. I tried doing this shadow along the edge and it didn't really work. I'm gonna come across, what I see is there's sort of like a reflected bit where there's a kind of brighter orange part and then it's a shadow. So I'm just gonna do a little bright orange line. One thing you wanna think of with these round objects is the place where you get the most contrast and detail is the part that's closer to you. So that's a way to kind of bring that bit forward. I'm gonna add a little bit of texture onto the stalk, so it's kind of mottled. One of the identifying characteristics of these mushrooms is that they sort of have, they develop when they're older, I guess, more of these kind of like rings of dimples on the top. So you can kind of see a few of those here and here. I'm gonna try and put in a little bit of that detail. I mixed up a kind of reddish brown to fill in some of the darker values and add more dimension to the gills and the shadowy side of the stalk. I want to erase my pencil lines. I need to let it dry to do that. So you can either step away and kind of go for another walk, or maybe we could start sketching in something else on this part of the page over here. Okay, so I let this dry, and once it was dry, used my rubber eraser to remove some of the pencil lines so you can see it a little bit better. So I'm gonna keep working on putting in some of these shadows where I see them back here. and building up some more texture, especially on the parts that are closest to us on the round object. This is trying to add in some of that blue-green color you get in some places. Just doing a couple spots, trying not to overdo it. That part is still not popping as much as I want it to. I have to let it dry again to do more work on it. Now I think I've decided that I want to go back and add some pen. This was the area I was really trying to bring forward before. I'm trying to get the lines of things that are farther away to be a lot lighter and a little bit more broken. It should make them recede. Doing this also gives me the opportunity to kind of define some of these shapes that haven't come together yet. One of my goals is for this not to feel too outlined, so I'm trying to use the pen to create and add some of the texture and shading. One nice thing about adding pen is that it really brings up the contrast, and so that encourages me to go back in with watercolor and kind of enhance some of these shadows and brighten some things up. Alright, I think I'm going to stop there before I push it too far.